What does this say?
Okay, so when do we ride?
Yes.
They tried to make Caitlin Clark just another rookie, but one NBC moment flipped the entire sports world on its head, and when Lexie Hull reacted, it turned into something no one saw coming. Lexie Hull did not just say she was proud, she meant it. And in that moment, her reaction became a story of loyalty, resilience, survival, and the reality of what it takes to stand next to a generational superstar while carving your own identity. To understand why Lexie's reaction hit so hard, you have to understand the journey both of them walked to get here.
For any of you, I know you guys have talked about in the past kind of staying composed in these big moments. Just what did it mean to be able to stay composed when the Sun were kind of charging back at the end, especially against a team with confidence?
When Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, she arrived carrying expectations that most players never experience in their entire careers. Her college dominance, her record-breaking performances, and her ability to turn casual viewers into obsessed fans made her the most anticipated rookie in league history. But with that attention came pressure, jealousy, physical targeting, nonstop criticism, and relentless media scrutiny. And right beside her through all of it stood Lexie Hull. Hull was not just a teammate, she was often the emotional shield, the one sprinting to defend Clark when tempers flared, the one offering calm when the noise became overwhelming, the one sacrificing personal spotlight to amplify her teammate's success.
It happened in 2016. I was 14, but anyway, I think it's a big win for us. I don't know, I mean, this is a team that we felt we hadn't really given a game to at all.
Their chemistry did not develop overnight. It was forged in chaos. From the very first training camps, it became clear that Clark and Hull had an instinctive understanding on the floor. Lexie's defense created space. Caitlin's vision exploited it. Lexie ran lanes. Caitlin delivered passes on a thread. Lexie set screens. Caitlin created shots that bent defensive logic. But beyond the X's and O's, something deeper was forming. Trust. During Caitlin's injury-plagued 2025 season, when groin and quad setbacks sidelined her repeatedly, Lexie Hull became one of her loudest supporters. While outside narratives questioned Clark's durability, Hull repeatedly emphasized her resilience, work ethic, and relentless drive. In private workouts, Hull often stayed after practice, running drills with Clark to rebuild timing, rhythm, and confidence. Those sessions weren't filmed, they weren't tweeted, they weren't broadcast, but they built the foundation for moments like the NBC debut, when NBC announced Clark would appear on national television to break down basketball strategy, league narratives, and her own comeback journey. Fans immediately recognized the significance. This wasn't a highlight clip, this wasn't a sideline interview, this was an invitation into elite basketball conversation, historically reserved for veteran legends and championship icons.
The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
And Caitlin delivered. But what truly shook the moment was Lexie Hull's reaction. But hold on, my friends, smash that subscribe and like button first, because you don't want to miss this tea. While fans flooded social media with praise, Hull posted a simple yet emotionally loaded message. So proud of her. 3 words. But behind them sat years of grind, pressure, and sacrifice. Those 3 words carried weight because Lexie had seen the unseen. She had seen Caitlin battle through pain. She had seen her endure criticism. She had watched her get targeted physically in games where referees swallowed whistles. She had witnessed locker room silence when support should have been louder. She had felt the tension in arenas where resentment toward Clark was palpable. And yet, Caitlin still showed up. Lexie knew what this NBC moment represented. It was validation. It It was recognition that Caitlin Clark was not just a scoring phenomenon. She was a basketball mind, a leader, a future architect of the game. And Lexie Hull, standing beside her, felt that pride deeply. What makes this moment even more powerful is that Lexie herself has walked a brutal path. Her journey has not been easy. Drafted with promise, she quickly found herself fighting for minutes, battling role uncertainty, and navigating roster instability. At times, her contributions went unnoticed. At times, she absorbed criticism for playing the thankless roles: defense, hustle, screens, and dirty work. Yet she never wavered. Instead of chasing spotlight, she anchored herself in purpose. And that purpose became protecting, supporting, and elevating her teammates, especially Clark. Behind the scenes, Hull often acted as Caitlin's emotional filter. When social media storms erupted, Lexie shielded her from the noise. When media narratives grew toxic, Lexie redirected conversations back toward basketball. When frustration built, Lexie grounded her. That is why her NBC reaction resonated so strongly. Social media exploded with clips of Hull celebrating Clark's moment. Thousands commented on their chemistry. Analysts praised their connection. Former players highlighted their mutual respect. Coaches pointed to them as the blueprint for modern team culture. It showed that behind every superstar is a support system that absorbs pressure, absorbs criticism, and absorbs sacrifice. It also exposed a quiet cultural shift within the Indiana Fever. Together, they represent a new era, and this is where the drama intensifies. Because as Caitlin's profile continues to rise, so does the tension surround her position in the league. The labor negotiations, the unresolved collective bargaining agreement, the scheduling uncertainties, and the looming expansion drafts have created an atmosphere of instability. In that chaos, Clark's NBC moment felt like calm in a storm. Fans saw it as reassurance. They saw it as proof that despite league turbulence, the game itself is evolving, and Lexie Hull's emotional pride became the emotional anchor for fans who crave authenticity. This wasn't scripted, it wasn't polished, it wasn't promotional, it was raw, and raw moments stick. But there's another layer to this story that few are discussing. Lexie Hull's public support for Clark sends a subtle message to the rest of the league. Unity beats resentment. For months, narratives have circulated about jealousy, targeting, and locker room tension surrounding Clark. Hull's reaction challenged that narrative. It reminded everyone that not all players view Clark's rise as a threat. Some see it as opportunity, some see it as growth, some see it as elevation. Hull sees Clark as a teammate who lifts everyone's ceiling, and that perspective could quietly reshape locker room dynamics across the league. Younger players are watching, coaches are watching, executives are watching. They are seeing how public support, emotional intelligence, and genuine connection amplify both players' brands. In today's sports economy, image matters, culture matters, narrative matters. Lexie Hull just elevated hers dramatically. Now let's talk about the moment itself. During Clark's NBC segment, analysts dissected her footwork, her release speed, and her spatial awareness. But what stood out most was her confidence, not arrogance. Confidence. She spoke with the assurance of someone who knows she belongs at the highest table. For a player barely 2 seasons into her professional career, that level of poise is rare, and Lexie's reaction mirrored that understanding. She knows Caitlin's ceiling is far from reached. She knows this NBC moment is just the beginning, and she knows that the world is about to see far more. Behind closed doors, reports indicate that Clark has been heavily involved in strategic sessions with Fever coaching staff, contributing to offensive scheme development, spacing concepts, and transition philosophy. This is unheard of for players at her career stage. Lexie Hull has been right there, absorbing those sessions, reinforcing concepts on the court, and acting as an on-floor extension of those ideas. Their basketball IQ synergy is becoming one of Indiana's greatest assets, which makes Lexie's emotional pride even more powerful. She is not just watching a teammate succeed, she is watching a system they helped build begin to thrive, and fans feel that. They feel the shift, they sense the momentum. But here's the shocking twist. This moment also highlights how fragile success can be. One injury. That's why fans rallied behind this NBC moment so fiercely. They understand how rare it is. They understand how fleeting opportunity can be. And they understand that Clark's rise, combined with Hull's unwavering support, could become the foundation for the WNBA's next great era. Yet it also puts pressure on the league. Pressure to protect its stars. Pressure to create safer playing conditions. Pressure to modernize its business model. Pressure to embrace change. Because moments like this do not come often. They must be nurtured, and Lexie Hull's emotional reaction might be remembered as the heartbeat of this turning point, not because it went viral, Not because it trended, but because it felt real. In an era of manufactured narratives and scripted branding, authenticity cuts through everything, and that is exactly what Lexie delivered. As Caitlin Clark continues preparing for Team USA, international competition, and a long-awaited healthy return, her circle tightens. And within that circle, Lexie Hull stands firm, not as a side character, not as a background presence, but as a vital force in the story. Because sometimes, the most powerful moments don't happen on the scoreboard. They happen in 3 simple words. So proud of her. So let us know your views in the comments below.